My dear brothers and sisters, tonight our topic is attack on 140 passengers under military escort from BAWKU to BOLGA by KUSASI youth. And this occurred yesterday. Now, I'm going to take you through an educative, informative, and peace-oriented program tonight. And you can always trust Voice of Mampugu wherever you are, whatever medium you get to learn about the happenings in BAWKU, you can never get content than what you get from Voice of Mampugu. Now, this is how we're going to start the narrative. First of all, let's understand that when you take the entire country of Ghana, we have regions. The country is divided into regions. And under each region, you have districts and municipalities. Electorally, Ghana also has what we call constituencies. So tonight we're going to talk about the BAWKU Central constituency. We're going to talk about the BAWKU municipality, and of course, the BAWKU traditional area. Now, when you narrow the country Ghana into regions, you have Upper East region. When you narrow Upper East region down further, you have what we call the BAWKU municipality. We also have the Pusga district. We have the Binduri district. We have the Timpani district. And we have the Garu district. Each of these districts, including BAWKU municipality, are also constituencies. So the BAWKU traditional area has 6 members of parliament. Now, this is what I want all of us to understand. And if the President of the Republic is listening to me, I greet you. So when you narrow the country Ghana down to BAWKU or BAWKU municipality or BAWKU constituency or the BAWKU traditional area, the point must be made that all persons living in the BAWKU traditional area, as far as the safety and security of each and everyone is concerned, the responsibility is on, first and foremost, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, which is President John Dramani Mahama. In other words, if there's any life taken in the BAWKU traditional area by any group of persons, President John Dramani Mahama, as the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, should first of all take the responsibility. The next person is the General Commanding Officer of the Northern Command, Brigadier General Franklin Walanyo Agbego. Then the next person is the commanding officer of the BOWKU Task Force, Colonel Rosalind Foley Atiobe. Then you come to the politicians, the Minister of Defense, and the Minister of Interior. Below that also, you have the chairman of the Regional Security Council, the Upper East Regional Minister. Next below him is the chairman of the Municipal Security Chairman. That's the BOWKU Municipal Security Chairman, the MCE. And of course, you don't have the politicians in the area, the 6 members of parliament. And Mahama Ayarga is the member of parliament for the BOWKU Central constituency, where the focus is on tonight, my dear brothers and sisters. So these individuals and groups that I have pointed out, let me repeat, in the BOWKU traditional area, if there is bloodshed, if any person or group of persons shoot and killed, attack, destroy lives and property, the responsibility goes to these persons that I mentioned: President John Dramani Mahama, Brigadier General Franklin Walanyo Agbego, Colonel Rosalind Foley Atiobe, the Minister for Defense, the Minister of Interior, the Upper East Regional Minister, the Municipal Chief Executive, and of course, the 6 MPs. I have deliberately not included the Divisional Police Commander and the Regional Police Commander for a purpose, a good purpose for that matter. Now, so that is how the foundation we are laying regarding tonight's discussion. Now, what are we going to talk about? As I indicated earlier on, or as the topic speaks for itself, tonight's program is about an attack on 140 passengers, civilians, 140 civilians under military escort from BOWKU to BOLGA yesterday. And this particular attack was undertaken or was taken by unknown KUSASI youth. Now, there is a history to everything in life. There is a history to everything in life. And history is meant to guide us, to help us look back, see where we have not done well, what we have done well, so that in going forward, we will not repeat the mistakes we repeated yesterday. That is one essence of history. So, an attack occurred yesterday. An attack on 140 children, women, men, passengers, civilians under military escort. Is this the first time in the BOWKU traditional area? The answer is no. And I'll give you the evidence. Now, these attacks are specifically on commuters of the BOLGA BOWKU Pulmakom Road. And when we talk of BOLGA BOWKU Pulmakom Road or highway, the route is that when you leave from BOLGA all the way to BOWKU, that is BOLGA BOWKU Road. Then when you move from BOWKU heading towards Togo, you pass through Pusiga, Pulmakom and all that. So that gives you the BOLGA BOWKU Pulmakom highway or road. If you know the map of the BOWKU traditional very well, BOWKU proper, the township of BOWKU, is where the Mamprusis and other tribes like the Asantis, the Gombes, the Gonjes, Farfares, Hauses, Bises, of course, some of the Bises lived. When you then look at areas around BOWKU proper, sometimes described as the outskirts, you have the KUSASIs and other tribes like Bimobes, Moshis, and all that, right? But for the purposes of this discussion, we are limiting BOWKU Township to Mamprusis, and then the outskirts to KUSASIs. You also have the Bises, who also are predominantly in what we call the Bisa belt, right? So the BOWKU traditional area can be divided into three among these three major tribes: the Bises, the Mamprusis, the KUSASIs. Now, on talking about road attacks, as I indicated earlier on, some of these occurrences happens between BOLGA, BOWKU. Either you are coming from BOLGA to BOWKU or you are leaving BOWKU to BOLGA, that stretch. Then you have Binduri, Binnaba, Zebila, and all that. So that stretch give you these areas where KUSASIs are predominant. Then when you take BOWKU to Pusga area, that is another stretch of the road where some of these road attacks by KUSASIs occurs. And then also BOWKU, inside BOWKU itself, specifically from the police station to the SNIT office around the municipal office, where the prison service also is located. Within that short stretch, road attacks are also predominant that place. And it is also KUSASIs who control that area. My dear brothers and sisters, so that gives you the geography, right? Now, I'm going to start this program by playing some videos so that we put the narrative in context. So let's take this.
Our first story, the Ghana Armed Forces says an armed attack on a military escort convoy protecting 140 civilians on Monday, April 27 at Binduri in the Upper East region has resulted in the deaths of 3 civilians and left 1 other injured. According to a press release from the Department of Public Relations at General Headquarters, Burma Camp Accra, the convoy was moving from BAWKU towards BOLGA when it came under fire from unknown assailants. The statement noted that the troops responded swiftly and successfully repelled the attackers, killing 7 of the assailants during the exchange. Following the initial confrontation, pursuing soldiers reportedly recovered G3 automatic rifle, 2 loaded magazines containing 20 rounds each, and an additional 176 rounds of ammunition from an escapee who had fled into a mosque. Let's speak to Naval Captain Veronica Adjo-Ahen. She is the Acting Director General of the Department of Public Relations of the Ghana Armed Forces. Thank you so much for your time. First of all, how are the injured faring?
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you to your listeners. The injured are doing well. I believe the hospital is taking good care of them, so they are doing well.
Okay. What immediate security measures are being taken to prevent further attacks on civilian escort convoys, especially in the Upper East region?
The line was not clear. Could you ask the question again?
I was asking that what measures are you going to take forward to prevent further attacks on civilian escorts, especially in the Upper East region?
This is an ongoing operation, even as I speak. So some of the figures will change from time to time, but we need time to do a thorough analysis and assessment before I can give you a definite way forward.
And how is the military coordinating with local communities and security agencies to improve safety on the BAWKU-Bolgatanga route?
I said the exercise is ongoing, so we are not even done with the exercise to start any coordination. The exercise is still ongoing. So until that is done, it will be difficult to even have time to do any effective coordination with our colleagues.
Thank you so much for your time. I've been speaking to Naval Captain Veronica Ahen.
Gets that clear. Every actor gets that clear. But I think for me, the most important thing now is that the security services use this as a window of opportunity to establish their authority and send a no-nonsense message to everybody and ensure that kind of attacks do not occur again. If we miss this opportunity, we might be setting a very dangerous precedent that will embolden people to organize better and attack security services in the area.
The military says it repelled the attack and neutralized 7 assailants. How do you assess their response?
Well, let's say that they have repelled it, but I think that they should not be repelling it. They should be quelling the attack in its entirety. They should ensure that whoever is involved, wherever the person may be hiding, that person is captured, that person is dealt with, that person is in custody, that person will face the law, that person and whoever is connected to that person, they should have a cascading kind of investigation that leads to the root of the organizers of this kind of activity. Because if you look at it, it means that it's properly organized, it's properly coordinated, they have intelligence, they monitored and attack at the right time. Those sources of intelligence need to be attacked. Those sources of intelligence need to be dismantled so that people know that the source of their power has collapsed, and that will send a signal that this is not something that should be repeated again. So we thank them, we congratulate them that they saved more lives, but the point is that they must not be repelling attacks. They should be overcoming attacks. They should be sending the signal that if 10 of you come up against us, none of you will go back. We will either arrest you or you will die before we die. So that should be the message. If that message is given, because some of these people, they don't care if they lose 10% of their people and they have 90% that is left to fight. No. So we need to ensure that they know that the 90% will not be safe wherever they are. They will be hunted and they will be dealt with. If that message is sent, then we can be sure that the security services are on top of the issue. And I want to appeal to all elites in society. When people are involved in things like this, whether you are an MP, whether you are a regional minister, whether you are the president, ensure that the security services have free hand to deal with these people the way they should be dealt with, so that the message is sent that no one is allowed to act with impunity. And I think that is the lesson we should be taking at this point in time.
Thank you so much for your time. So you just heard from a security analyst, Professor Vincent Ajali Mensah, helping us understand the security implications of the attack in Binduri. So news highlights right here on GBC News.
My dear brothers and sisters, that was a brilliant, objective, purpose-driven commentary or remark or analysis from that security expert who is a professor. He said the military must adopt a no-nonsense attitude. Ghana as a country, and the military in particular, must seize this opportunity. Let me repeat, must seize this opportunity to stamp their authority on banditry in the BOWKU traditional area. And trust me, he is right. If the military fails to seize this opportunity, my brothers and sisters, let me repeat, if the military fails to seize this opportunity to stamp their authority on the KUSASIs, on the Mamprusis, or the houses, whoever is there causing trouble in the BOWKU traditional area, for whatever reason, supported by politicians, trust me, when everybody begins to behave like the KUSASIs, well, do not blame anybody. He also made it clear that activities like this are well coordinated, well planned, with intelligence. And of course, they have sponsors, right? So that is what needs to be done. We need to deal with these criminals, these bandits. He also did not fail to make it point blank that the president, as I indicated in my introduction, has a responsibility. The politicians, the 6 MPs, particularly Mahama Yarga, has a responsibility. The regional minister has a responsibility. The municipal chief executive has a responsibility. Colonel Roslin, the commanding officer of the BOWKU task force, has a huge responsibility. Brigadier General has a huge responsibility. If anybody knows Brigadier General Franklin, please tell him I'll be talking to him directly on this program. So he should kindly tune in, or make any of his boys to tune in and listen to me. my dear brothers and sisters. Now, let's go to the history. So let's give the history to support what the security experts said, especially on the point that if the military, must take this opportunity. This is a golden opportunity for the military to show professionalism above politics and to stamp their authority, right? Now, let's go to the history. Let's go to the history, then we'll come back to what happened yesterday. The history of road attacks by KUSASI is that it started in 2021. And in 2021, the first road attack targeting the military occurred around Sabungari, a KUSASI dominated area. The second road attack happened around the Garu area when two Mamprusis from Gambaga on their way to I think the Sankasi area with a motokia, KUSASIs attacked them and killed them. Idrisu Isifu and Baba Razak. So these two are examples of what happened in 2021. Of course, Voice of Mampurugu spoke about this. Then you come to 2022. A cargo truck was attacked on the BOLGA-BOWKU road around Bazwa. A Shinkansen-bound 207 bus was attacked on the BOWKU-Polmakom road around an area called, or a village called Adamong Sana. 2022, another cargo truck was attacked on the same BOWKU-Polmakom route around Misiga. An ambulance transporting critically ill patient was attacked on the BOWKU-BOLGA stretch. BOWKU Central NPP delegates who were returning home from party activities in BOLGA, that is the executive, were also attacked in BOWKU Township around the police station, Senate, Municipal Assembly, and the prison service area. And there's this popular filling station known as Ambitious Filling Station. That is where all the road attacks inside the BOWKU enclaves, I mean the BOWKU town itself, that is where it occurs, right? Then again, there was an attack around the BOWKU-Polmakom road. The driver was killed and the car was burned. This is still occurrences in 2022. Last but not the least, in 2022, a car returning from Shinkansen to BOLGA to BOWKU was also attacked around the Sabungari area. And all these instances that I mentioned, yes, there were injuries, casualties. There were also deaths recorded. Just that I'm not stating the number of people who died, right? Now let's move to 2023. In 2023, a bus was attacked on the BOWKU-BOLGA stretch of the road around the BOWKU police station, and this happened in the township where Ambitious Filling Station is. 3 immigration officers within that same place where the Ambitious Filling Station is, just close to the police station, the municipal assembly area. 3 immigration officers were attacked on their way to BOLGA, and one of them passed away, and it became a national issue, right? One would have thought, or one would have expected that the nation, the nation, Ghana, or the government would have taken this as a serious matter. Not even forgetting the police woman who was shot and killed around Habitat in 2021. My dear brothers and sisters, 2023, the list continues. A minibus was attacked. The driver was killed. The car was burnt. A passenger car was attacked on the BOWKU BOLGA stretch. A Yingtong bus carrying passengers from BOWKU was also attacked on its way to BOLGA around the Tili forest area. Again, a Sankansi base or boarded car was also attacked on military escort. 2024, the same incidents on road attacks. A bus carrying about 45 students of Presbyterian Nursing Training College was attacked in Bunduri or around the Bunduri area, also referred to as the Bazwa area, where yesterday incident occurred. Again, in 2024, a driver who was transporting students, was also attacked around that area, the BOWKU BOLGA stretch. A bus carrying passengers with military escort, again, 2024, right? When you come to 2025, I'm just giving you highlights. When you come to 2025, the same pattern, a bus carrying passengers under military escort was attacked in 2025. In 2025, the same thing, another military escort was attacked. The list goes on and on and on. And of course, what is making us talk again on this issue is what happened yesterday. Now, when I did my counts, among all the road attacks, right, from 2021 to this year, done by KUSASI in the BOWKU traditional area, 7 attacks that I can remember, 7 attacks were on the military. In other words, when the military was escorting passengers, and the KUSASI attacked. So the KUSASI attacked the military about 7 times, 7 different times that I can remember. Put aside the attack on the police station, put aside the burning of the police barracks and all that, right? And this happened under the MPP Nanado government, and it is being continued under President John Dramani Mahama's government. Why? Why? So that is the history. And if you know this history, the facts about KUSASI banditry on the roads against anyone and everyone from the BOWKU township, it doesn't matter whether you're a Mamprusi or not. These attacks started in 2021. And that is why you will agree with the professor, the security expert that we just listened, that the military must seize what happened yesterday. They must take that as an opportunity to really stamp their authority. But I will add that if the military doesn't care, if the government doesn't care, they shouldn't bother themselves. They should, again, go and sleep. But they should not be surprised if other persons who may be more devastatingly dangerous than the KUSASIs also begin to behave in same manner. Do not force the government, the military, do not force any other group of persons to behave like the Iranian government is behaving because of the arrogance of the USA under President Donald Trump. In other words, there is, or there could be, what one can also term as the Strait of Hormuz, right? So let's avoid that. Now, that takes us to a press release from the Mamprogo Youth Association in relation to what happened yesterday. I'm giving you a summary of their press release because it all helps in connecting the dots that we want to make today's program. We want to make today's program educative and informative and get a sense out of it, right? So yesterday, 27th April 2026, as we are all aware, a bus carrying about 140 passengers and a military escort was attacked around the Balzoa Binturi area by the KUSASIs. It is not an allegation. It is a fact. The Mamprogo Youth Association saw it necessary to issue a statement. They issued the statement and then copied the Regional Security Council of the Upper East Region and the Northeast Region. They also saw the need to copy the Minister for Interior and National Security, the Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Defense Staff, and press houses. Now, this was what they said. First of all, they condemned what happened yesterday, the KUSASI's conduct on the 140 passengers and the military. The Mamprogo Youth Association condemned it. They also commended the swift response of the military. The Mamprogo Youth Association went on in their press release to reference recent attacks on women returning from BOLGA. I think I spoke about it in my last program. The 4 women who had alighted around the Ambitious filling station, right, on their way to BAWKU township itself. And then KUSASIs attacked them. They shot and killed 1 woman instantly, and 3 got injured. So Mamprogo Youth Association referenced that incident. Maya says these attacks pose a serious threat to national security and it challenged the authorities of the state to sit up. Maya further expressed concern about what it described as attempts to portray a false sense of peace in BAWKU, warning that such narratives could mislead the public. Right? Everybody's saying that there's peace in BAWKU after the mediation, peace in BAWKU, what and what and what. But the KUSASIs are telling us that there's no peace in BAWKU. And we are also letting you know that there's no peace in BAWKU, right? But because it is a Santihini, because there's everybody is being forced to kowtow and behave in a way that will please the Asantehene, then nobody is brave enough. Nobody has the conscience enough to say that no, something is wrong somewhere. So Maya also called on the government and security agencies to attempt, to intensify security operations along the highway, the BOLGA highway. Maya also called for urgent decisive measures to restore safety and protect civilians traveling along the route. That's same the BOLGA Pulmakum route. Last but not the least, while urging the Mamprusi youth to remain calm and law-abiding, Maya wants the security agencies, the government, the president, the brigadier general that, listen, if you don't seize this opportunity and stamp your authority and let sanity prevail, so that anybody there will not even be the need for security escort for passengers to travel. If you cannot make that safe, the place safe, Maya may not be able to restrain its members if they ever decide to also react. Remember, from the history of the facts that I read to you, the incidences, yes, I must admit, somewhere 2023, 24, thereabout, such similar incidences occurred in the Strait of Hormuz, the the BOLGA Wale Tamale stretch, right? The Mamprusis also decided to make that place their Strait of Hormuz, right? And if you are very objective and you want the truth, you will realize that the Mamprusis started acting just like the Iranians are acting because of the persistent and consistent attacks on roads, on passengers by KUSASIs, and the government is not doing anything. So the Mamprusis were pushed to the wall, and then they had to defend themselves. So let's not allow such things to happen again, my dear brothers and sisters. Now, let me pause a minute and use this opportunity to congratulate the MP for Nalerugu Gambaga, my brother Nuruddin. Nuruddin is known as the Nairi MP. I like that brand, the Nairi MP. And then so far, he has lived up to expectation. He has carried the brand, and his conduct represents a true reflection of the brand, right? So I want to sincerely express my thanks and appreciation to his contribution so far since his election. He issued a statement, just like Maya. He also issued a statement and granted a radio interview. You may hear his voice, but I just want to use this opportunity to thank him, and then also to appeal to the other 5 MPs. Please, Mamprugu, what is our problem? When the KUSASIs do, we complain. When we know we can do better than the KUSASIs, what is the problem? So I'm using this opportunity again. If you are from Wale, take a call. Take a phone call. Take a phone and call your MP and tell your MP that, listen, if you want us to re-elect you, you must join Nuruddin in fighting for the Nairi. Take your call. If you are from Yagaba Kobori, call your MP and tell him directly in the face that, listen, if you want our re-election, if you want to be re-elected, you must get yourself involved directly, like Nuruddin is doing. All the other constituencies. Now, Mamprusi youth, you always like sitting down, you fold your arms, right, and be relaxing, and you want things to be better for you. It doesn't work that way. If for nothing at all, there's nothing that we can learn from the KUSASIs, let's learn this from the KUSASIs. When the KUSASI youth want something from their politicians, they make sure they get it. Why can't we do that? All right, let me not take this to and make this a topic. So let's stay focused, my dear brothers and sisters. Now, let me play another video from...
good morning.
Yeah, I'm trying to play another video from this incident. But before that, let me also show you a letter, a press release from the Ghana Armed Forces indicating what they did following the incident yesterday. And if I may read, it says that the Ghana Armed Forces escort convoy attacks. A Ghana Armed Forces escort convoy protecting 140 civilians was attacked this morning, Monday, 27th May 2026 at Binduri by unknown elements. The convoy from BAWKU towards BOLGA was shot at several times, resulting in the death of 3 of the civilians being escorted and injured 1. Actually, it's 1 dead, 3 injured, so it is the other way around. In the process, the military successfully repulsed the attack on the convoy, resulting in the death of 7 assailants. In pursuit, the military discovered and retrieved from an escapee who went to a mosque a G3 automatic rifle, 2 full magazines of 20 rounds each, and 176 rounds of additional ammunition. 10 other suspects were arrested and are assisting with investigation. The Ghana Armed Forces wishes to caution all to desist from engaging the military or any other security service during its operation. It extends its heartfelt condolences to the family of the deceased and wishes the injured speedy recovery. Victoria Azo Ahin, that's Captain, Acting Director General Public Relation. My dear brothers and sisters. Now let me see if I can get this video. All right, it thinks my system is trying to misbehave again. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'll do justice to what happened yesterday. I'm building a case. And again, please, if you know Brigadier General Franklin, please give him a call and tell him that I have a direct message to him today on this program.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, my dear brothers and sisters, I don't know, my system is trying to misbehave again. All right. Anyway, sometimes it can be disappointing. Okay, let's continue. So now, what is the current situation regarding escorts in the BAWKU traditional area? What is the current situation? Let me start by saying that if you know the BAWKU traditional area very well, just as I described earlier, that you can divide the BAWKU traditional area into 3. BAWKU proper is where the Mampusis are. When you talk of BAWKU proper is where the Mampusis are. Then around BAWKU is where the KUSASIs are. Then you also have the Bisa belt. Now, the the Mamprusis are in the middle. Let me say from BAWKU all the way to the Togo stretch. That's the BAWKU Pulmakum BOLGA BAWKU Pulmakum Highway. The Mamprusis are in the middle, right? So we also know that the chieftaincy dispute and the conflict is between the Mamprusis and the KUSASIs. Now, fortunately for the Mamprusis, they live in the town. They don't live the outskirts. They live in the town. The Mamprusis are town people. They are not villagers. They don't live in the villages, right? So that is their advantage. The KUSASI's advantage also is that because they lived outside the BAWKU township, around the BAWKU, the BOLGA BAWKU Pulmakum route, they have advantage on the road. So therefore, they don't need escort to travel from BOLGA to BAWKU and BAWKU to Pulmakum, Togo area. They don't need escort. Again, why they don't need escort is that initially you had to pass through the town itself where the Mamprusis are if you're going to Togo. But now the KUSASI's MPs, they have been able to mobilize and then create another route for the KUSASIs to be able to travel without passing through the Mamprusis area. So I'm making this point to paint a picture for you to understand that in the BAWKU traditional area, the KUSASIs don't need escort. The Mamprusis need escort. Now, since the conflict started in 2021, along the line, escort, there was a need for escort when the KUSASI started their road attacks. And escort continues till today. But what is the current situation on the ground as we speak? Now, this also need me to give you some facts, some backgrounds. So the facts are that in the beginning, the commanding officer for the BAWKU task force was in charge of determining escort schedule. In other words, escort from BAWKU BOLGA Pulmakum road. It was the officer of the task force who was solely responsible. He was the go-to person. If he says there will be escort today, there will be escort today. If he chooses to say that there will not be escort today, there will not be escort today. In the beginning, that was the system. During the MPP time, when MPP lost the 2024 election and the NDC came to power, somehow escort services stopped. So the Mamprusis who needed escort had to make necessary noise. And lucky for them, they were able to get the attention of the president through the Nayiri, I believe. So the president then instructed the security agencies to ensure that escort services resumed. Now, if I don't remind you the structure that I developed from the beginning, you will not, you may not get the gist. You know, the president is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, right? So he is the supreme. He is the supremo. So he gave order to his boys on the ground to ensure that escort services resumed. And of course, it resumed. However, it wasn't as regular as it used to be during the MPP time. I'm just stating the facts, my dear brothers and sisters. So what happened? The Mamprosis again had no choice but to continue making noise, necessary noise, making complaints and reaching out to the necessary authorities to tell them that, listen, you need to act. Don't think you are punishing us. You are punishing other innocent persons, right? So you need to make sure that the escort continues and continues regularly. My dear brothers and sisters, it continued for some time, as I said, and stopped. Then again, complaints started coming from the Mamprosis. Now, this time, the Mamprosis, from my investigation, were told that approval of escorts now depended or was now dependent on the Brigadier General. What is his name? General Franklin Walanyo Agbevo. So put it this way, the commanding officer of the task force now told the Mamprosis that, listen, this time I don't have control or absolute control of deciding when there will be escort or there will not be escort. Now I take direct orders from my superior. So if you have any concerns, any complaints to make, any redress, the best person to go to is him. Of course, you know that the Mamprosis cannot get to the president, the commander-in-chief. They cannot do that, right? So it's only the one on the ground and then the commanding officer based in Tamale. So that was what the Mamprosis were told. Of course, the Mamprosis also diplomatically continue to engage, and then I'm told that they were able to meet Brigadier General. Now, however, before meeting Brigadier General, as I said, the escorts, the number of times that the escort services was provided reduced. And now escort services from BAWKU Township to BOLGA or from BAWKU to Sankans Pulmakum area happens once every 14 days, once every 2 weeks. Once every 2 weeks. It doesn't matter whether you are sick, whether you want to go to school, whether you want to catch up a quick flight the next day or not. If escort moves out today, even if there's an emergency, you have to stay for 14 days before another escort. Why? Why? So that is currently the situation. At a point, I do remember about 7 articulator trucks loaded with food items, some perishable, yams, tomatoes, onions, trying to come into BAWKU, could not get escort. They were packed in BOLGA for almost 1 month. For almost 1 month. Why? Because either the government, the security agencies, the MPs, the regional minister, everybody think they are punishing the Mamprosis and those who live with the Mamprosis in BAWKU proper. What is the Mamprosis crime? for engaging in a legitimate civil dispute of chieftaincy? Is that it? All right. So the Mamprosis again made an attempt and were able to meet Brigadier General Franklin Walanyo Agbegbo to let him understand the negative impact of his lack of, I am saying this, lack of proactiveness and leadership and responsibility to ensure that, yes, goods and services, passengers who want to travel from BAWKU to BOLGA to Polmako, whichever way, are not hindered. Now, when the Mamprosis met him, what did he tell them? It is very interesting, my dear brothers and sisters. Let me see if I can get a video, one of the videos to play before.
I said from the beginning.
Anyway, I just don't know why I'm experiencing this problem. But anyway, this is the Brigadier General. This is the Brigadier General. Now, let me go straight to tell you what he told the Mamprosis. When the Mamprosis paid him a visit with their concerns, I am told that he told the Mamprosis that, listen, first of all, if I have to do anything at all, I want you to know that there is one Facebook account that goes by the name Fatimosis. That Fatimosis has been writing all sort of things about happenings in BAWKU, blah, 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 all that. And you, the Mamprogu Youth Association, have to issue a disclaimer on Fatimosis. Now, if you go to Facebook right now and then search for Fatimosis, you get Fatimosis. Fatimosis has been operating, I can't know how long, right? But I believe more than 3 years now. Fatimosis happens to be a CDO Facebook account. Just like KUSA Intelligence, the Baddest, and many other CDO accounts operators who are also on Facebook threatening military and saying all sorts of things, and then when they make their threats, they ensure that it happens. From the KUSASI side, even before yesterday's attack on the military, there are a couple of Facebook accounts, CDO accounts, that made it known that they would attack the military. So how will you want the Mamprosi Youth Association, who do not know CDO account operators, have no control of CDO accounts operators, their members are not CDO account operators, how do you expect them to issue a disclaimer? I mean, now even granted that yes, the Mamprosis know the Fatimosis and therefore should issue, granted that it is fair for the Brigadier General to ask them to do that. Has the Brigadier General asked the KUSASI leaders to also make a disclaimer against their CDO accounts operators? So where is the balance? Where is the fairness? Where is the justice? Right? So that was what he told the Mamprosis. Now, as the saying goes, to put pepper, is it in injury or on injury? He went further to tell the Mamprosis that notwithstanding whatever challenges the Mamprosis were facing on the BOWKU BOLGA Pulmakum road, he, the Brigadier General, will ensure that there is security, there is escort, there is safety for that matter from BOLGA through Wale Wale to Tamale for passengers and persons who want to apply, who apply those that route. Of course, the idea is to make things easy for the KUSASIs. Now, tell me, how do you expect somebody like him to be able to stamp his authority on the banditry on the roads? The banditry activities that are listed from 2021 to date, he is, or he was, and still is in office within this period. The video I was trying to play to you, this particular one, he was in BOWKU begging the KUSASI chief when the KUSASIs attacked the military and the military responded appropriately. The politicians were able to get him to come and render apology to the KUSASIs. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? My dear brothers and sisters. So that is the current situation regarding escort in the BOWKU, on the BOWKU BOLGA Pulmakum road. This photo also is the 6 MPs from the BOWKU traditional area. BOWKU, Garu, Timpane, Pusga, Binduri, and what is the other one? I can't remember. But all of them, this was in, I think, 2025, February 2025, when they decided to go and meet the Interior Minister and the Minister for Defense at the time, fighting the KUSASI cause. Now, why can't these 6 MPs meet again, meet the regional minister, the Interior Minister and the Minister for Defense, to talk about KUSASI banditry on the road and how to make the road safe? Why can't they do that? In fact, the question shouldn't be why can't they do? Why, but rather, why aren't they doing? Why are they not doing that? You see, that is why in my intro, I started by laying the foundation for all of us to understand that when there's any life lost in the BOWKU traditional area through banditry activities, whether conducted by KUSASIs or Mamprosis or whoever, first and foremost, the one who should take responsibility is the president, followed by the Brigadier General, followed by Colonel Roslin, the task force commanding officer, followed by the Interior Minister, the Defense Minister, MUSEC, RECSEC chairman and MUSEC chairman, and of course, these irresponsible politicians. These irresponsible politicians, the 6 MPs in the BOWKU traditional area. My dear brothers and sisters, I think it is time for me to end tonight's program here. I wanted to give you more information based on videos that I wanted to play so that you will listen, and then I will make my commentary on those videos, 3 videos. This particular one, unfortunately, I don't know why it is not responding. I also wanted us to listen to my dear brother Nuruddin and Abdul Rahman, who are always on the ground feeding us the happenings on the ground. I also wanted us to listen to something very touchy from this gentleman. Unfortunately, I may not be able to do that. So I am forced, let me put it that way, I am forced to end tonight's program here at this juncture. But let me say thank you so very much once again for making time to join me live on Voice of Mamprogu. It is always a pleasure connecting with you and sharing with you information that we believe that you need to know. Last but not the least, there's something that I need to also highlight. It is about the conduct of the Ghana police, especially the regional command. They also have adopted a biased attitude towards the Mamprosis and anybody coming from the Mamprosis or living with the Mamprosis in the BOWKU township. Why am I saying so? The police have noticed something. Whenever they arrest a Mamprosi or anybody from BOWKU township, for whatever reason that might be, they are very quick to publish the photos of those people or that person and issue a statement to that effect. For example, you have Imorubol Naba, you have Zanya Rafia, Karyama Azare Raphael, Baba Mu, we have Abdul Aziz Idrisu, aka Balusi. We have Osman, who was arrested after he alighted from a bus in BOLGA. You have Zakia Bagura, who was arrested for using her TikTok page to comment on the failed Asantehene mediation. Of course, you have our chief, the son of the Nayiri, Nashirga Alhaji Seydou Abagre. Now, just like Rakia, Bagura, and Zanya Rafia, all of them were arrested, both of them were arrested because they used their TikTok accounts to express their displeasure regarding the failed Asantehene mediation report. Now, all of these individuals who were arrested, the police were quick to announce it. In some instances, they were quick to put their photos out. I remember very well somebody like Raphael. Also remember Balusi and Murubila. I remember these very well. However, anytime they arrest anybody from the KUSASI enclaves, either a KUSASI or somebody that lives around the KUSASI area, they are hesitant to treat them same way as they treat the Mamprusis and those who live with the Mamprusis in BOWKU Township. Things like this, of course, doesn't help. Now, I wanted to connect all this to the Asante-Hini mediation, but that itself needs enough time to connect all the dots, right? Now, for example, the attacks on the road, it started before the Asante-Hini mediation. It continued during the Asante-Hini mediation and still continues after the Asante-Hini's mediation. Notwithstanding the fact that the mediations, whether flawed or not, went in favor of the KUSASIs. In other words, Asante-Hini has skinned Abogrago Azoka Aninchema as the paramount chief of the BOWKU traditional area. The KUSASIs were excited. We all saw videos and photos and all that, right? Now, what you wanted, Asante-Hini, for the sake of peace, handed it over to you. That KUSASIs, I know you. I know your attitude. You like causing trouble. You have been telling me that if you don't get what you want, there will not be peace in BOWKU. I know the truth. I know the history very well. I know how you migrated from Burkina Faso to Pusga, to BOWKU. You came from Burkina Faso to Ghana. The Mamprusis were in Ghana. I know the history. But I know you guys have made it a point that if you don't have it your way, there will not be peace. So Asante-Hini, based on that, and of course, according to the Pusga chief, other financial inducement that the KUSASIs gave to Asante-Hini, he then said, KUSASIs, okay, take the World Cup, go home, and let there be peace. His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama also issued a statement to that effect, his government, and then carried the instruction of the Asante-Hini, which is make sure that the Nairi in skin BOWKU Naba is not in BOWKU and bring him to Accra and prosecute him. The government is doing all that. Currently, the Nashirga cannot come to BOWKU. He even cannot move outside Accra. What else do you want? What else do you want? KUSASI, what else do you want? Anyway, as I said, if I'm going to go deep into all this, detail into all this, it will take us another 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So let me end the program here. And then hopefully when the need arises, we may meet again here to talk about important things again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for your time, and remain peaceful, remain law-abiding. Maya is telling you to be patient, right? So be patient and be law-abiding. Wait till such a time that Maya will tell you that, okay, we can't tell you to be patient again. But for me, what I do know is that when you take the recent happenings between America and Iran, when they were pushed to the wall, decided to also look for what is in their advantage. Just like America is relying on is it B-52 bombers and what air superiority and all those kind of flexing muscles, right? We will do this, or Iran, if you don't do this, we will do that. If you don't do this, we will do that, right? And Iran was very quiet, also strategizing, knowing their ways, what to do. And then they just remember that, hey, we have the Strait of Hormuz here. 20% of the 20% of crude oil, let me put it that way, passes through this route to wherever in the world. If we don't have B-52 bombers, if we don't have nuclear weapons, if we don't have this, if we don't have that, well, let's take control of this Strait of Hormuz. And they did that. And it scaled the balance of power, of control in war. And I think the Mamprusis are capable. And I pray that the government, the Brigadier General, Colonel Rosalind also, the regional minister, both Northeast and Upper East, the NDC government, the 6 KUSASI MPs, they will not push the Mamprusis to start thinking outside the box, to start making to start inventing things out of necessity. Let's pray that the Mamprusis don't get to that point. But I want to assure all Mamprusis that do not think the struggle is over as far as the KUSASIs are concerned. So if you were sleeping, wake up. If you were sleeping, wake up. My spirit is still stronger as it was beginning 2021. If I don't come to talk to you every day, it is not because I have no interest again, or I have no strength again, or I have nothing to say again. No. See, I'm not trying to praise myself, but I do things strategically. Beside that, as I told you, I'm writing a book, so it is taking my time. And then sometimes when I want to talk, you don't understand. And there's a lot, there's work involved. And then, but anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that all of us, let's continue to have it at the back of our mind that as far as the KUSASIs are concerned, as far as they are concerned, until they destroy, they weakened all Mamprusis, whether you are in the BOWKU area, you are in Wale, which part of the country you are, so long as you are a Mamprusi, trust me, mark this on the wall, so long as you are a Mamprusi, wherever you are, the KUSASI doesn't want your progress. The KUSASI doesn't want your progress. So sit up, stand up, rise up, and take control of your destiny. Take control of your future. Do not embarrass the Nayiri. I am doing this not because of you, but because of the Nayiri. You should also play your role, not because of me, but because of the Nayiri. Thank you so very much, my dear brothers and sisters. Thank you so very much for your patience, and then thank you so very much for your time. We shall meet again. We shall connect again. We shall engage each other again. Good night. Peace, love. Bye-bye.